And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Applebee's Tailgate Talk here on WKAC, the Big 1080. We've got him here, Roger Kitchen Jr., mental skills coach. Roger, Power Mental Performance, is that the? Power Mental Performance. All right, that's the name. Smile for YouTube, man. We're going to be on the channel here.
All right, sounds good.
A little bit this afternoon. Tell everybody what you do, because you have a business, and it is a very, very good thing, especially for young athletes.
Right, so I'm a mental skills coach for teams, coaches, and athletes. And the idea is I will get involved with team performance, athlete performance. Coaches, schools will hire me to come in and work with their kids. Usually 4 things I'm helping them do: achieve goals, improve their focus, increase their self-confidence, and the big thing is perform under pressure. And so really I'm helping those students, even teams, manage their stress well in a high-performance situation, help them deal with the nervousness, the butterflies as we call it in the stomach, and how to perform in those really tight moments regardless of the sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, track and field. Your background, NASCAR, racing.
Raced for 15 years. I would have loved to known you back then.
I've worked with swim dive teams, volleyball, so it really doesn't matter what sport it is. Any athlete, any team, having to perform under pressure at their highest optimal level, they're going to bring me in to help a team do that or an athlete do that.
Well, now you talk about butterflies.
Yes.
Butterflies is not a bad for me. It's not been a bad thing,
right?
Because I sang for 20 years with a group, and I always if I had butterflies before a show, I always felt like I did better,
right?
Because if I didn't have them, then it was just like I guess too overconfident or whatever.
Sure,
so.
There is a natural,
and I just really stunk,
Whenever I went in overconfident on anything, it really stunk.
Right, there's a natural nervousness that all the athletes are going to feel. There's going to be a certain amount of stress they're going to feel. We're not telling people to eliminate that, get rid of it, because that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
What I give them is sort of tips and techniques to manage it well, so that they can perform at the level they want to perform at. So it's not so much I've got to be emotion free, I've got to be feeling free. It's really not that. It's helping them manage those emotions and those feelings in the moment, so that when I want to run the play, I run the play. I need the way I need to run it. I need to perform at the level I want to perform.
I might need to get him just asking out a girl or something. Maybe I need to do that mental performance to do that, because nowadays all you want to do is just send a text and just say, hey, do you want maybe go out
never
and then
never
get turned down.
Never.
That's the way I've been doing it,
Do not send a text to ask a girl out.
That's the way I've been doing
it.
Can't do it,
dating
man.
may be outside my swim lane and above my pay grade. I kind of stick in the athletic realm. But there could be some things that we can help you with.
Never ask her out on a first date. I'll put it that way, on a first date, and never break up with her on the text. No.
Okay, let's change the subject. Let's ask Roger what he's got going on August the 24th.
Right. So August 24th, I'm holding a mental performance workshop at BCI Sports Performance and Fitness. They're on Madison Boulevard in Madison, Alabama. So it's a 2-hour workshop where people are going to sign up on Eventbrite.com. That's Eventbrite.com, and you're going to search for the words "Train Your Mind." And so when you go to Eventbrite.com and see the workshop, you sign up for it. It's from 12:15 to 2:15. It's $19.99. We're going to be covering concepts that are common to all athletes in any sport. So it's going to be things like you hear athletes talk about the zone. I want to get in the zone. What is the zone? So we're going to talk about the zone, what that is and isn't, and how you can ease into it. We're going to talk about things like managing stress and anxiety in the moment and how that's going to help you perform, and then really performing under pressure. So it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. So I recommend any parents that are out there, get your kids signed up. We're going to have people there already taking a lot of registrations, a lot of different people coming with different sports backgrounds, even a few businessmen are going to be there. And so it's going to be a great workshop to cover sort of a mental skills 101, what it is, what it isn't.
Now, what are we looking for on Eventbrite.com?
It's called Train Your Mind.
Train Your Mind,
Search for the word.
Train Your Mind.
Search the words Train Your Mind.
And that's Eventbrite, BRITE.
Yep.
And you can also contact him by emailing him at roger.kitchen.junior@gmail.com, or call him or text him at 256-698-6389.
That's right.
He's right on it, boy.
Yeah,
Way to
got it
go,
pulled
man.
right up in front of him.
But he still
Zach's
he
the
can't-
man. See, look.
But he can't text a girl to ask her out.
Doesn't matter. He's in the moment right
He's
now.
in the moment right now. He's in the zone.
He's not worrying about girls.
Not
right
worried
now.
about girls.
I'm worried about Roger's
Focus.
event right now. I'm
Focus.
focused on
It's
that.
that what's important now.
What's important right now. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, just do your job.
Do my job. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm
And
doing my job. This is my job.
He's in
right
the zone
now.
at the highest
He's there.
level.
That's right.
I believe it. What are not some of the teams, but some of the things you can offer? Say a local coach here wants his boys is just maybe they're doing everything great in practice, but when it comes game time, they're the setting is too big for them. How can you help the coach?
I just worked with Coach Waldrop over at James Clemens, so I was in with them every week during their spring season. And so we talked a lot about one of the most overrated skills that athletes, I think, miss is proper breathing. So like when those moments come and we're anxious and we're maybe the butterflies are getting a little too much, what are some breathing techniques I can do just to sort of relax myself so I can perform? So we talk a lot about proper breathing, talk a lot about how to recover from mistakes, how to manage those emotions. We talk about here's a big one: controllables versus uncontrollables, and how we think about. You think about an athlete going into a situation. What are some things athletes would define as uncontrollable? You guys tell me. What's an uncontrollable in athletics?
The other team.
The other guy
Other
across
team.
from you. Yeah.
The other guy across from me. What else? If I'm playing outdoor,
Weather.
weather's a big one. And so a lot of times athletes start focusing on things that they can't control, and it totally takes them out of the moment when they need to be present. So we teach athletes how to focus on things they can control.
I wish you could go to Atlanta right now, Roger, and talk to Atlanta Braves bullpen. Because every night I'm sitting there, me and Jay, who's normally here with us, and Coach Legg and another friend of ours, we're group texting, and we're just having meltdowns along with the Braves bullpen because we're sitting there in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and we're wondering how guys who are getting paid good money cannot go out there in pressure situations and just, like we're talking about, do their job. They're getting paid to do their job, but night after night, they're just going out there and they're having meltdowns.
Right.
They're going out there. They can't throw strikes. They're guys. Okay, the Braves acquire 3 guys in trades right before trade deadline who are getting guys out at their previous places, but they put on Atlanta Braves uniforms and they all of a sudden forget how to get guys out. And it's just. I guess they're coming from non-pressure situations, Roger, to pressure situations, and it's just unbelievable.
So here's one of the things that I tell athletes: no situation is big. So if you think about it from that perspective, the way you approach a playoff game or a championship game should be the same way you approach practice or a regular game. So we try to get athletes to shift their thinking from this is a huge game or this is a huge moment, and we say no, every moment is the same. So because we're trying to instill in them developing a mental process or a mental routine that handles every situation the same regardless of the venue. And so getting back to your question about working with teams, it's things like that when you go in and coach them, you're trying to retrain their thinking so that no matter what the situation is, I approach it the same way I've always approached it. And so the misnomer is, I had an athlete ask me just the other day, when you coach athletes, has it not worked? And I'll say, well, yeah, this is a skill that needs to be developed. Like throwing a pitch, hitting a baseball, serving, whatever. The mental skills thing has to be worked on day in, day out, week in, week out. It has to be part of your process and your routine. And so when you work on it, then it's easier to apply it. Versus it'd be like a place kicker saying, well, I'm going to practice kicking when I get on the team. It doesn't really work that way. Mental skills and these things, learning how to manage your emotions and the stress has to be worked on daily and weekly as part of your routine. So you develop the skill so that regardless of the situation, you have that repetition and that mental muscle memory will come back and help you in that moment.
If you don't practice, you might never make the team.
Sure. We practice strength and conditioning. We practice skill development. We practice proper nutrition, getting sleep, and all those other intangibles outside. But when it comes to the mental game, it's 90% mental. How much time have I devoted during the week to improving my mental state and learning how to deal with those emotions in those moments?
And, you're talking about approaching each game the same. I mean, it doesn't help that these kids have all these other people telling them, how big a game this one is, you know. So, you know, they're kind of fighting themselves and other people too.
So in that situation, you know, as I've talked with teams about this, is that a controllable or uncontrollable? That's an uncontrollable. I can't control the outside, but I can control how I respond to it, and I can control my focus, and I can control what I'm thinking about in those moments. And so that's the real big piece. So I have a 1 hour session on just working through controllables and uncontrollables. You know, other sessions will be helping them define their process. So it's like we have what we call outcome goals. That's kind of my statistic. If I'm a basketball player, that may be my outcome goal for the season is 20 points a game or 10 rebounds. And then I have them break that down. I'm like, well, tell me your process goals. What are you going to do to help you score that amount of points or get that many rebounds? You know, football, you have statistics, you know. And then what we get them to shift from is, you know, when you focus so much on that result and that outcome goal of a statistic, it can really stress you out, because if I get into a game and I don't hit it and I'm starting to think about it during the game, I'm going to take myself out of the zone. So I get athletes to really focus in on process, which is what are those intangible things that I can control that help me achieve the goal I want. Kobe Bryant years ago wanted to improve his three-point percentage in shooting when he was playing the game. His process was, I'm going to shoot 1,000 three-pointers in practice every day. So when you focus on those kind of things, naturally the result will come, but not obsessing over the goal or the statistic.
What you see a lot of days now, Roger, too, is kids will watch game film, and that a lot of times that gets real bad, because they'll look at game film and they'll say, I should walk right over these kids. And instead of focusing on what you've got to do and do your job, they'll focus on their opponent, and they'll say, well, man, I can just block this guy or run right around this guy. And then when they get out to game time, that guy just wallops them or makes that tackle or runs, and it's like, wow, I didn't. So the mindset ought to be, I'm going to go out there and just do my job instead of worrying about what that other guy does.
Right.
And a lot of times you don't see that happen.
Right, because I got to really, at the end of the day, I've got to focus on what I can control.
Yeah.
My attitude, my effort, my focus. Those are the things that I really have control over and I can execute. One of the greatest quotes I heard this week came from FBI hostage negotiation. And you sit there and you go, how does that tie into mental skills? It was a guy named Chris Voss. He used to be the international hostage negotiator for the FBI. He's now retired. And hostage negotiation training is intense. It's long-term. He said, there is no such thing as rising to the occasion. He said, you will always perform to your level of preparation and practice. And I went, wow, think about that. You never there's no such thing as rising to the occasion. What we will always see is your level of preparation manifest in a game. And so for athletes, getting back to the process, getting back to the small things, and practicing that stuff, good to watch film. I need to watch film, but just watching film isn't going to help me perform. I've got to go out day in, day out and practice and make those adjustments and practice those things so that when I get to game time, that guy isn't running over me.
Yeah. And a lot of times you see teams playing down to the level of their opponent too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They may, their opponent may not beat them, but they don't beat their opponent like they should.
Right.
And you're talking about breathing a while ago. I don't guess you do Lamaze classes, do you?
I have not had a Lamaze class. If I did, there may be some problems there, but I've not done one.
Went to a couple of them a long time ago.
Yeah, we did not
you
do
have two
Lamaze
children,
classes.
you do. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you support your.
I bet that was fun, Tailgate.
You waiting on a child to come into the earth. So yes, it's waiting on your child.
Right.
I wouldn't do it for anyone else. But yeah.
But we learn a lot. Those Lamaze classes, yoga's really big on it in terms of learning how to properly breathe so that you can relax and perform.
Yeah. And I can remember our default was the deep cleansing breath. So
I always think about Bill Cosby when I think about that. That's
push him out.
Yeah, that guy.
I thought about that too.
Yeah.
That was the Bill Cosby of old days, not the current Bill Cosby.
Yeah, we won't talk going there.
Yeah.
Well, Raj,
So
BZ, give us one more time the contact information for our buddy here.
So I had it right here.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put the pressure on you, man.
You put the
Pressure's on.
Zach's
Zach.
coming. He's coming.
Zach's coming.
I'm coming.
He is
was
prepared for the situation.
I had
He's not
it.
going to have to rise up. He's prepared.
That's all right.
I had him. God, where did? Oh, I got it right here. You can email Roger at roger.kitchen, and that's just like in your kitchen, .junior@gmail.com, or call him or text him at 256-698-6389.
Right.
Or you can go where? Where was Evan? What was?
Oh, for the workshop.
Oh, for the
Yeah.
workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a little bit there. I can go where?
Yeah.
What? That's eventbrite.com.
Yes.
And search Train Your Mind. It's August 24th. It'll be a 2-hour venue, costs $19.99.
Right. Yep. Love everybody to be there. Show up. You get a lot out of it.
Absolutely. Roger, thanks again, man. It's always good having you
Hey,
on
I
the show,
appreciate
buddy.
you guys bringing me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You'll be right back. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.